If you critique about a paper based on some fact, you are considered as a troll. Can you believe this? And this is what I call the what can call the headstrong nature of a ownership of a newspaper. It's not a private property of this particular person. Actually, any newspaper like Hindu has been is a property of millions of South Indians who have been reading it for. I am a third generation reader.
Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. You asked and Professor RV very kindly consented to come on our program. Professor RV, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you very much. It's
Sir, first,
pleasure. Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to first invite you and then start my spiel about donating to PGurus as well as subscribing to PGurus. Those of you who have not done so, please do so. And I'm going to add one more thing, and this is what Professor RV always says. You can buy my book, you don't have to read it. In my case, I'm saying that you buy the book, and the book is quite expensive, so you will want to read it. And I guarantee you, if you read the first few pages, if you grab the book and read the first few pages, after that, the book will grab you until the very end. I have really tried to keep that tempo. This is something that involves every one of us. We need to know what is going on. The amount of mischief done by some governments is unbelievable. So I'm not going to spoil the plot for you. Please read my book. First of all, please buy my book and then please read. And if you have time, also write a review, just a few lines in Amazon. The book is only available in Amazon.com. So you have to be a member of Amazon. It is not very difficult. I encourage you to also become a member of Amazon because the amount of deals you're getting there is unbelievable. We can all have our creative differences with Amazon for its owning Washington Post, but Amazon as a website to buy stuff is a great deal indeed. So today we are going to talk about media transparency, especially when you know that the owners have a specific political leaning. Does that reflect in the writing in the newspaper? Is that correct? Should it not be more like news? How far have mainstream media now come away from what is reported as news? To get a full 360-degree view, I would like Professor RV to share his thoughts. And I also want to mention that recently he was on a Twitter, I wouldn't say quarrel, but definitely a disagreement with a certain editor of a certain Chennai-based newspaper. Professor RV, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Iyer. Thanks a lot. Actually, I have been thinking of this theme for quite some time about the role of media. Particularly now, it is becoming extraordinarily heated up. Partisan and one group of media calls the other group as North Korean media, and and all that. And these people call others as cable, and it's becoming a very, very messy issue. One thing is becoming slowly clear. It's very difficult to find any media person whom you can loosely call neutral, or whatever it means. Neutral, not necessarily neutral to the truth, but neutral between different political groupings. Everyone has got their own. The point is, it always used to be the case, even in the 50s and 60s. After all, if you are a journalist or a reporter or editor, that doesn't automatically mean that you cannot have any. But in those days, you cannot have any views. But in those days, what happened is, it was more subtle. In the sense, you might subscribe to, let's say, the Congress ideology, but at the same time, you would give enough space and other things for Swatantra Party or to Jansang or any other communist and others. So now that is becoming an extraordinarily difficult situation. It's what the American jargon, they would say. They have Democrat Republicans and Republican Democrats. And finally, this group is the one which actually
runs the country. Yes.
Government.
Yes.
Basically, some Republican whom you can loosely term as a Democrat, some Democrat whom you can loosely term as Republican. But what is happening in the last couple of years, or maybe a decade to three, Hillary Clinton election campaign onward, there is a significant divide between the Republican and Democrat. There is not a this common elements are getting less and less actually. More and more people are going to the extremes. Same way in India, you find that common elements are getting less and less. Couple of things in this. One, we will separate them and talk about it. One is the ownership of media. I think it's an extraordinarily important issue, critical issue, because they talk always about transparency. First and foremost, very interesting, they excluded themselves from RTI, Right to Information Act, telling that they are not government and all the blah blah. Second is, it is not very clear about the ownership structure. They don't publish it fully under the.
Especially if they are a private company.
No, even if they are, public companies.
I see.
And none of them is listed in the market or anything. So they are private.
Even Bennett Coleman? Bennett Coleman?
Yeah. It's a highly, what you call private company. They have so many subsidiaries, so many activities. Now the point is, we should know who owns whom. How much of that shares are held. Under the current act, they do publish annually one small report in their newspaper or in their magazine itself about who is the publisher, who is the printer, and other thing. They also mention that who is responsible under the Press Information Act. That is, every magazine or every journal or every newspaper is supposed to identify a person. You may call him by any name, editor, executive editor, or what one can call senior editor, who is responsible for the contents which are published in the journal. In other words, if you want to take somebody to task, you have to take that person to task. He is the one supposedly responsible for anything which is published in terms of obscenity, in terms of violence, in terms of spreading enmity among different communities, various things. Then, of course, we have supposedly the press council, which is supposed to be a very, big body and other things. Lok Sabha chairman, Rajya Sabha chairman, and a couple of senior journalists, all of them sit together and select the chairman of Press Council of India. But unfortunately, over a period of time, you find it has become a toothless body or something. It makes some statements off and on about, this is not acceptable or something. That's all. After that, it goes into. Now, in the what I told in terms of annual publication, they also have to mention the persons or companies or groups who hold more than 1% of the share of that particular holding. And that is a general. More than 1% can be 80%, can be 70%, 50%. So they may give sometime individual names are given, sometime another, small company's name may be given. Vanita Publishing, something like that. So we do not know exactly who owns whom, except for rumors, which I don't give much credence to. Somebody says that this X paper is owned by, Vatican, Y paper is owned by. All that is all talks only. I would rather like the newspapers to be compelled to publish complete shareholding pattern of their publications. That is
so why limit to newspapers, sir? Even mainstream media?
I mean media. No, newspaper. I use the word newspaper. It doesn't mean newspaper only. TV channels and other type of media also should publish exactly who owns whom. That is the most important. What percentage is held by which group? Because long time before onwards, the press has always been accused of being, pro business, because business people were holding significant portion. For instance, Hindustan Times and others were called jute press because their owners are having substantial amount of interest in jute. The traditional I'm talking about, Birlas and this what one can call, yes, owners of Hindustan Times Group and owners of Times of India in terms of those games, all were called. But now so many new groups have also come up. For instance, there are reports which suggest the Ambani's groups, significantly controls not only CNN, IBN, but also Enadu, through Enadu, so many other regional language publications. So this is the first issue. Second issue is the partisanship of the media anchors or broadcasters or leading writers and other. There is one type in that, for instance, what I call Naxal rag, the Hindu. That type of thing is family owned. So they will basically they have to decide what will be written in that or what will be published in that exclusively. And many a time, I was given to understand that from Chaprasi to top, editor, all of them are DK, DMK or communist orientation. They have recruited. Assuming in the extreme case in the Hindu newspaper, the family, gives up control, which it is not going to happen. I'm just telling. Even then, the paper, the complexion may not change because of the nature of, unless you change all these, news editors, anchors, and people who collect news for you, people who operate as journalists and all the things. It's not going to be easy. So that is one dimension of the problem is having people who are disseminating news as well as editing news and various other having particular political orientation. This problem is faced by others, for instance, Tamil channels. Couple of them I checked with. Some channels, of course, are extraordinarily biased because of the nature of the ownership. For instance, SRM group of institutions, they run one channel called Pudhiya Talabure. It's not a secret that they're running. Now, what happened? Because it is run by that group, it takes a slanted view. For instance, that group also runs medical institutions. So on the medical issue of this NEET exam and other things, this channel went overboard attacking any new changes because it will affect the capitation fee type of thing of the owners. Second is IIT, there was one Islamic girl who committed suicide for various reasons. Investigations are going on. It may take a couple of months for it to come out. Anyhow, there was a huge hue and cry by the Tamil media groups, including this Pudhiya Talabure and others. Now, within SRM institution itself, consisting of engineering colleges and various other institutions, couple of people have committed suicide. But none of that was even mentioned as a news item, leave alone as a area of discussion and other thing. What I want to stress is the control by some of these type of groups distorts completely the dissemination of news in terms of favoring or not favoring group. Now, some of these people are very interesting. Owners are telling me, sir, we have a problem. One of the news channel which is completely pro-DK and pro-DMK. It will not even allow anyone to give a counter viewpoint. The so-called analyst in that, or what you may loosely call the anchor, when they conduct discussion, they take sides along with the DK and DMK type of people. I was discussing with some of them. They were telling one interesting thing actually. Sir, we don't have any alternate fellows to run this channel. We have recruited them all. Now we don't mind sending them out. But where is the... So this brings out a very, very interesting point in regional media particularly and also in national media. The people who are not aligned to say communist ideology or DK, DMK type of ideology, there aren't enough people to run the channels. That is very, very interesting. The reason is substantial amount of the training is done. For instance, Asian School of Journalism and various other things. They are all dominated by left ideology or DK, DMK ideology. Yes.
Sir, I have on a very reliable authority that a certain anchor who was considered the #1 anchor in Tamil TV was eased out of his position, and then a certain party which has 3 letters, which well, let's say the leader used to lead its youth wing when that leader had turned 60, made sure that this gentleman would not get employment in any TV channel. And now this gentleman has his own YouTube channel, just like PGurus. I've even invited him on PGurus once. So if you know who it is, I mean, you can, if you want me, I can give you the initials. It's R and P. And he's a very good person. The only mistake that he did, or the only mistake that DMK thought he did, I've told you the name, because DMK is the one that controls all the media channels in Tamil Nadu. Whether you agree with me or not, I will take it under advisement. But DMK is controlling 99%. Maybe maybe Jaya TV doesn't listen to him, but that's about it. So he has been shunted out.
Correct. No, the point is, some of them are arguing. You tell us a group of people who will be, what you call right-minded, right orientation, or anti-DMK. They say there aren't enough people. Large number of people.
I can tell you two people who can do a fantastic job running programs. Both of them can be very good anchors. One is this individual that I just mentioned to you. He's a well-known name brand. He will bring them. The second one is get someone like Uma Anandan. She will make mincemeat of anybody who tries to talk nonsense. I'm saying, let her host a program.
You are mistaking between one anchor or they require a huge number of people, cameraman, editors, backup people, and those who are in the field. He says all these people are today DMK are left oriented only.
That's okay, sir. If you tell them, listen.
Very good in communicating.
Sir.
I want to stress is
you can change the messaging. No, you can change the messaging. These people are all working for money. You tell them from tomorrow you write about this, they'll write from that.
No. That is the thing I want to point out. They are all trained. For instance, there is one journal called, in the internet, what is popularly called Nakshal Minute. It is also known as the News Minute.
Yes.
You won't see almost all of them are, either between extreme leftist and leftist.
Yeah.
In between at all. So
I know.
If I want to acquire control of it and rechange it, I have to sack the entire lot. Something like hundreds of people. The point I want to stress is it will take a long time for serious training of young journalists who are not communist oriented or who are not DMK DK oriented. This is very, very important. Just like Enram got educated at Columbia in left policies, left orientation in the anti-Vietnam days. That. Second issue is much more important is how much of the owner or in a place like Hindu, for instance, which is family control and other thing, and almost all their relatives are only their daughters, sons-in-laws, every position, various positions in UK, in USA, everywhere. How much of the owners can really dictate terms in terms of the editorial, center page article, and so many people. For instance, Hindu has been spewing venom against India, Hinduism, and BJP. Take anything. It's an actual racket. But people are arguing, boycott these papers. I'm telling boycotting channel or paper is not going to help at all, because I am given to understand by reasonably labeled people, less than 10% of the revenue comes from
news,
subscriber to the news people,
right,
as well as various. So 85 to 90% comes from advertisement. And significant portion of the advertisement is government advertisement,
right?
Which is and so what happened? These newspaper, even if none of them buy the newspaper, it will continue to run happily. Like NDTV, for instance, you can all avoid seeing it, but they get a significant amount of advertisement from Congress governments, non-Congress government. It doesn't. Even BJP governments advertise significantly in all these papers. I don't think they even apply with their mind, or I don't know, whatever is the policy. So the point is, boycotting this paper is not going to be the solution. As long as there is a substantial amount of advertisement flowing in. For instance, there is one TV called Kalanyar TV in Tamil, and it is ranked very, very low under the bar, whatever the coding system or howsoever you take. It's very low. But significant amount of advertisement it continues to get in from the normally they say that advertisement is supposed to be linked to the
viewership, TRP ratings and all that.
These two are now diverse very much. All diverse now. You get advancement as long as you have done some past favors to those companies, or to, and it is in South at least one can say blatantly owned by political parties. That is another
Yes.
issue.
Yes.
So
Yes.
X channel, that it will talk only about this party, and no other politics will be talked about. I think we are entering into extremely very what I would call difficult times in terms of media, and the media management has become a major area of activity by the political parties. As you said, most of the TV channels, Tamil media is controlled by DMK. So there is no alternate way in which messages can be sent at all to the public at large. So this, I think, is very very serious issue. Election commissioner is one of the perhaps possible person, maybe Supreme Court. Some of these institutions should look at it very closely, because if the central government begins to look, it will be immediately told as they are trying to curtail us and this and that. Some of these institutions and well-meaning people should also have a close look at this. Is this the way we are going to function for the future? If so, then I would say it is the greatest amount of peril for the existence of a proper functioning democracy. For instance, I made some sharp comments in my Twitter about a certain editorial or thing which has come out in Hindu. I have been watching from long time, 2000 onwards. I have been watching Marad, for instance, when Islamic fundamentalists went and killed a good number of people in Kerala. Hindu was writing it as if it is a group clash. I'm
Hmm.
talking about 2000 beginning itself. So they have a history of writing, unbelievable thing. Center page articles also. They used to have Kancheleya, they used to have this Gail Homework, Usku Venom. The first sentence itself will be fascist Brahminical. Like that it will start. But so I was just mentioning why this particular news report has come something criticizing it. For instance, Karnataka police told you will be a couple of lakhs you will be charged in case there is a violence in the meeting conducted by you. That is, you have to take permission for meetings
Right.
and
Right.
in
Right.
public.
Right.
But that 10 lakh or amount is not collected from you nor any undertaking taken from you. It is only after the event, if significant violence take place, then they will ask you to
Pay
provide
for
that
it.
guarantee
Yeah.
and the money.
Right. Hmm.
Now the paper made it appear headline, big news, that Karnataka police is asking 10 lakh to conduct democratic protest.
Hmm.
So I couple of so many examples one can give. I wrote about this in a very brief
Hmm.
Twitter, that this Malani Parthasarathy, who is supposed to be editor in charge of Crooked Hindu paper. She wrote how such a eminent professor or expert professor, some wording she used, can be trolling us, and it's very sad that he is also having so much hatred towards. If you critique about a paper based on some fact, you are considered as a troll. Can you believe this? And this is what I call the what one can call the headstrong nature of a ownership of a newspaper. It's not a private property of this particular person. Actually, any newspaper like India has been the property of millions of South Indians who have been reading it for. I'm a third generation reader, so it is not something like. What I want to stress is either Press Council of India, this editors guild is no use. I call it editors guilt. All those editors, guilt feeling, they all go there, and that's of no use. I think some serious discussion should take place about the media, in media itself. Nothing wrong about it. For instance, recently it was obscene actually. India Today, that Rajdeep Sardesai and another person who is conducting this survey, they were dancing in the
Dancing.
studio
Correct.
after the victory of Aam Party. And they
Yes.
claim they are dancing because their predictions have come true. That's not necessarily true. That's a total lie, because earlier also 9 to 10 times their predictions have nearly come true. None of the time they danced actually. So this is, they are simply pro-anarchist Aam Aadmi. Nothing to hide in that actually. They can even tell that we are because at least the audience, people like us, I know where they stand. That's all. There is nothing. For instance, there is no need. There are some anchors in US, you know that they are anti-Trump, totally anti-Trump, and they don't hide it also. Any part of time or any point of time, and Trump also doesn't hide it. He gives it back to them. It takes time and then. So I think something serious has to be done before the next general election. Otherwise, the press can completely mislead also, totally mislead, which is happening in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
Most of the Tamil media, blatantly they tell lies, actually. If you ask
Yeah.
me,
Yes.
they tell lies like nobody's business and get away with it.
Yes.
Because it takes ages for some government agency to come and, refute what they are telling another. This is another cause and concerns by me. I think election commission or the Supreme Court should step in and bring some sanity in this whole media. And the first point of that, I would say, should be transparency.
Right.
Exactly inform who is owning this and over that. And another thing, if the editor is a member of a political party or has been a member of a political party, like Endram was a member of the state committee of CPIM. It's not a top secret or anything. He was also a Student Federation of India member. Of course, in those days he was clever. He used to write his name as N. Raman so that when he applies for visa to US, this won't be confused with Endram. So,
Hypocrite. Hypocrite. Hypocrite.
Hypocrite. Not, you won't say hypocrite. He is a clever fellow. That's all. Anyhow, so that also I think should be revealed. If you are a member of a registered political party, has been a member also, you should, I think, come out and say that nothing. I personally feel nothing wrong as long as you are transparent in your. Then people will understand what type of views you are writing, or what they will know. Oh, this fellow is like this. He is writing. So this is my
doesn't all these things fall under the purview of the Minister of Information and Broadcasting?
Is there a minister like that in India?
Sir,
I thought
the current minister.
His role is to bring one trophy and give it to the film actress and shake hand with them. I only once as one of the best actors. You see, they are. I don't think they are got any strategic thinking or perspective or anything. Second is they themselves want to appear in all these channels and other thing and shake hand. See, in Delhi, the relationship between the media and some of these political leaders are, to say the least, incestuous. So they are not the ones who are going to. You are expecting them to clean up. It's like a 1-year-old kid which has done that what you call
poop,
oiled poop.
Yeah.
And expecting the kid to come and neatly clean it, put that all, and I think you are out of your mind. Yeah. Okay.
Well, very interesting conversation about media and transparency or the lack thereof. And we still don't know how many publications Mr. Ambani controls. We are talking about Mr. Mukesh Ambani. And it's there have been some attempts to show who all, but I think it's still falling short. We don't know. There is some opaqueness there. And the current...
One person in media told, unless otherwise denied,
it's owned by Mukesh Ambani.
It is owned by Mukesh Ambani. That's all he told.
Well, I can also tell you the Minister of Information and Broadcasting in a previous life was the Minister of Education, and his claim was in the 5 years that the first term of Modi went, they did not change a single thing. So you are looking at not accomplishing something being associated with this person's name, just like a certain number got associated with a certain lawyer turned minister.
There was a rumor one day NDTV may be asked to not broadcast. There was a rumor or whatever.
Right.
Nothing happened.
Right.
Nothing happened. And this, for instance, this particular media NDTV, they had Rashtrapati Bhavan as their house.
Yes.
Unimaginable.
Sir, since we are talking about Hindu and Mr. Ram, I have to tell you one thing. My first book on NDTV frauds actually was a Kindle bestseller. somebody asked Ram, did you read NDTV Frauds by Sri Iyer? And he said it is a diseased joke. I mean, I can understand if he counters me on facts, but to just contemptuously call it a diseased joke, whether I don't know, the joke is on him. It was a bestseller. Okay, sir. Well,
Okay.
we had a very interesting insights on the third generation Hindu reader who has finally figured out that this is nothing but an axle rag. So thank you
Right.
very much, Professor RV. We'll be back with
Yeah.
more such conversations.
Okay.